Hi, everyone. This is Laura Womack from Never Too Late Cafe, and we sponsor the Bloom Where You're Planted podcast. And I have a very special guest with me, and I'm going to have her introduce herself and tell us where she's currently living.
Gayle Everett Tomasini, and I'm in Claremont, Florida.
Hi, Gayle. Welcome. Little disclosure, Gayle and I have known each other for,
30 years.
It's a long time. So there's a lot of longevity there. So anyway, where are you from originally, Gayle?
I'm originally from Gardner, Massachusetts, the Chair City.
Chair City. Tell City, Chair?
It's Chair City because that's where they used to make all the wooden chairs. That's what they were known for. In 1976, they were voted the All-American City in the U.S.
Oh, awesome. I didn't know that. See, I learn something every single day. It's so exciting. I know when we're recording now will not be when it plays, when it airs, but we are on January 1st, 2022, as we're recording this. And it's exciting for me to have you as my first guest of 2022. And it will probably air. And, once you're on the internet, it's out there forever. So anyway, you are an artist, and tell us a little bit about your art form.
Originally, my art firm was doing PowerPoint presentations. It took me a long time to find my art.
Mm-hmm.
My mother's very creative, can work in anything. And it took until I was about 38 years old. And I thought you could only get stained glass if you bought an old house. And I was driving down the road with my mom and saw somebody said stained glass lessons, went in and said, you can still do it. And it started there and found out that's my niche.
Wow. So at what age did you start to get involved in the art world?
I started going with my mom in my 20s to art associations and hearing some of the big people like Mosier and Representative Currier and Ives and doing presentations and stuff, but I just couldn't do any of it. I tried watercolor. I tried acrylics. I tried ceramics. I've tried sewing. Tried cake decorating. Can't do any of it. But when I found stained glass, I can see things in the glass. I can see this would be good, like lizard skin, or this would be good for water, or this would be good for tree bark, or this would be good for koala fur. I could see that and I could work with it.
It always amazes me how everyone that has an art form, it presents differently to them. So you see it and you see it in the glass, and that's awesome. So tell me about your space where you work from. I know you have a studio.
I do. When I first started, I worked in the basement in the house where my husband and I were. And when we moved to Florida, I was working in the garage. And glass has to be room temperature. It has to be 72 degrees, otherwise you can't cut it. If it's too cold or too hot, it sweats and it won't break on the score. So if it got too hot or too cold, I was trying to work in the kitchen, and that's not always ideal. And then my husband said, well, why don't we take the spare bedroom and make it a studio? So we took it and we brought in a designer, and it took about 8 to 9 months of going back and forth with the builder, the designer, and they made me my space. And it's fantastic.
So you have slots, I know. I've seen it before. It's been many years ago, but slots to hold the glass. And you also have a kiln. Is that correct?
I have two. I have one that's a long time kiln, and then I have one that's made from kiln brick. And I can do stuff in an hour or less if it's small. I can actually turn out jewelry. It's portable. I could take it somewhere, show somebody. They can put it together, layer the glass. I can put it in the kiln in less than an hour and have a complete piece.
I was not aware that you needed a kiln or could use a kiln with stained glass.
You can. I do fused glass as well as stained glass.
Okay.
And you'd have to make sure there's coefficient of expansion with glass. So bullseye is 90 and spectrum's rated at 96. And you can't mix them. but I can do bullseye, I can fuse, and I can fuse spectrum, or if I do stained glass, I can put them together. I can fuse a piece and incorporate it into my stained glass.
Oh, it's an amazing process. I was not aware of that. So how do you market your product?
I have a girlfriend that does this professionally. You have to get a reputation to do it. Most people think of glass as a craft, not an art. That's the first misconception.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is you have to have confidence in yourself, and you have to explain why the cost is what it is. People don't understand that if you have red glass, to make the red or the pink, you have to use gold. If you're doing blue, you're actually using cobalt in it. And that's how you make the color. So people don't understand that. So if you don't explain it, they don't understand why the cost is what it is. Mm-hmm. Cuts make a difference. Texture of the glass increases the cost. How many pieces is in it? There are all these factors when you price it. Mm-hmm. And you have to be out there and talk about it and market to yourself. And I find it's actually easier if somebody else markets me versus me.
Okay.
Like my girlfriend, when she does a show, I'll go for her. I will talk her up. She'll sell more pieces. If I'm doing a show and I have a friend there, I'm there, but they talk it up and I sell things that way. I do mostly commission. I don't do a lot of shows.
Oh, so it's like a tag team.
Exactly. It's kind of like that saying in the Bible, you have no honor in your own town, but you have honor in somebody else's town because nobody knows you. And it's like, oh, listen, they know what they're talking about. It's the same kind of thing.
So you've been in a shop, but it's not Claremont. What's the nearest town that you've been in a shop? I remember.
My girlfriend's shop is in Mount Dora. And
Mount Dora, that's it.
Yes. And Mount Dora is like a little artist capital. It's like a little pocket. And they have a huge art show the first weekend in February. But when I went up there, she took me under her wing, and she really developed me, and is very giving and very shares everything, all her knowledge. And I try to share that with people that want to get into glass.
That's incredible. So I see you have a quality art glass. Tell us how you got your logo.
How I got my logo.
I mean, when did it start with koalas? I know you're a koala person. You have more koalas than anyone than a koala store.
I do. It's 8 or 9 years old. I got a birthday card that said Quality birthday on it. And if I ever have a business, I'm going to call it that. So I started with another business. I was a virtual admin. And when I wanted to get my business cards, I told them I wanted to be quality. And the gentleman had found the quality in the tuxedo.
Okay.
And it just kind of goes together. Quality, play on the word quality, and the tuxedo. So that's how I got to be Quality Art Glass.
Yeah, the tuxedo makes him classy. And stained glass is very elegant. And so, well, I think it's incredible. All these years I've known you, I didn't know how you came up with your logo, honestly. So bloom where you're planted is what this podcast is called. So can you tell me what that phrase means to you?
When we got down here and we moved in 2005, I knew no one other than my husband. And I had read in the paper about Rosemary Brown, and she was doing art and she had lessons. So I called, and I'm like, when can I come up? When do you have classes? She goes, when do you want a class? And this went on for like a year and a half. Eventually, she just said she realized she needed to give me a date. She goes, this is the date I have for a beginner's class, because I felt I needed to get back in it. It's been a while. Went up there, and she actually helped me to plant and help me to bloom. She's the one that just did the encouragement. You can do it, and just kept feeding me. I call her Yoda.
Oh,
and
okay.
I'm her little Luke Skywalker. But like I said, she's so giving, and she shares everything that she has with you. Mm-hmm. And she just allowed me to bloom and explore. I didn't know about fusing glass until I took a class from her. And I'm the one that really has gone off and done all kinds of things, taking it and putting it into the stained glass and doing different techniques with the glass. And I share it with her. I'm her little experimenter.
Okay.
and I share it back with her. So as much as she gives me the fertilization to bloom, I do it back with her. So I feel really comfortable in this medium.
That's incredible. And I know that when you moved down there, you also, besides your day job work, you also are very involved in lots of committees and that's a form of blooming. I mean, you sound so incredibly busy.
Well, my business that I had was a virtual admin. It was Quality Resources Unlimited. So when that kind of dried out back in 2008, I was happily unemployed. I was able to do my art and focus on that. And my husband let me do that. And eventually he said, you need to get a job. And I'm like, no, I'm having fun. And he's like, I'm selling stuff. And he's like, but you need to get a job. We need to have you have insurance in case something ever happens to me. So I ended up working at a car dealership and through them got involved in chambers, met other people. And so I'm very involved in 2 chambers. I'm involved in a SAC committee with one of the schools, and we have no children here. And I'm also a daughter of the American Revolution. And I'm also honorary Marine with the U.S. Marine Corps Elite Detachment 1120 in town.
Well, and yet you still do your art. So that's wonderful. So do you have any words of wisdom to share with anyone that does your art form or any art form?
If you haven't found your creative outlet, just let it come to you. Don't try to grab on, just practice, try everything. But with my art form, it's just practice, practice, practice. That's how you're going to get better at it. You have to be able to cut the glass, break the glass. You can't be afraid. If you break something, you mess it up, you just got to go, I'll use it for something else. We have a saying here, because the glass is so expensive, you use your scrap for whatever. You keep every little bit of glass, unless it's a sliver, and you reuse it. You fuse it. You use it for a smaller piece, and another later you'll use that piece of glass. And just let yourself go. You just have to be open to it. There's, Glass Patterns Quarterly. Get the magazine, read it. It'll help you do things. Take lessons. Work with somebody. I have friends that we like to get together and do our glass together because it helps the creativity. You get stuck on something, somebody else will cut that piece of glass and you cut something for them. You just work together.
Oh, that community is wonderful. I don't care what your avenue you're doing anything in. We all need community, and so that's wonderful that you found that. So what's going to be next for Gayle Tomasini and Quality Glass?
The next thing I want to do is I've been taking bits and pieces of glass and doing multimedia. Mm-hmm. So I'll take a frame with glass in it and I'll put stuff on there. So I'm putting broken glass seashells and I'm making sea scenes and I'm making all kinds of things. I'm just not staying in stained glass. I'm not just staying infused. I'm like doing anything with glass. I'm figuring a way to use it, to repurpose it. And I'm always looking to know, what can I do next?
And promotions?
Promotions, I like to make stuff and have people go, that's what I want. I'm okay with commissions. I'm not fast because I'm a perfectionist. Oh. So if you want a commission piece, you just have to work with me because I am full-time, but sometimes I'll start getting into a group and you have to be in the mood to do it. I'm not one of those people that can do it professionally and just hit it every day and just know that I have to be in that creative flow. And if I'm not, it never comes out. So
the best words are practice, practice, practice. I think that goes for all of us.
Just practice. And even if you make a mistake with something, put it aside, because we have a saying with fusing, never refuse to refuse. So you always if something doesn't come out, put it aside. It can go somewhere else later. Wonderful advice. Well, our time is coming to a close. And Gayle, I so appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing some pictures that I can share on our page and such. So this is Laura Walmacka signing off from Never Too Late Cafe. And we sponsor the Bloom Where You're Planted podcast. Bye now. Bye.